It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And joining us now here at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee with some big breaking news is John Solomon, the founder of Just the News. John, fill us in on the latest that you know on the shooting, because, boy, are there a lot of troubling details.
There is a very big development today. The House Judiciary Committee revealed that multiple Secret Service whistleblowers, people who were in on the planning on the security, have come forward to Congress to say that the FBI, the Secret Service, and the local police knew the Secret Service would be short of personnel for covering that event. Rather than ask for more resources, they tried to manage with what they have, and that's likely what led to one of the biggest security lapses in the history of the Secret Service. The fact that whistleblowers have come forward, asked for congressional protection, provided pre-briefing memos. They now have the pre-briefing memos for this event, according to Jim Jordan. That is going to be a major, major turn in this investigation. It's going to probably increase the calls for the leader of the Secret Service to step aside.
So let's get this clear. In the pre-briefing memo, it said what? We are understaffed? Explain that.
Yes, what Jim Jordan, I'm at the mercy of Jim Jordan's description right now, but what he said is between the memos and the testimony of these whistleblowers that the Secret Service went into the event at Butler, Pennsylvania, knowing it was short-staffed, that it didn't have the normal resources to cover an event like that, particularly an outdoor event, which, as you know, is much more resource-intensive. So how much where the resources were, where the laps were, we don't know yet. But the very first time you and I talked, the first thing we said is this is going to come down to, I bet you, resource issues. I think that's what we're finding out. They didn't have enough people to cover the event, and they didn't cry uncle. They should have spoke up. Instead, they put the president's life in jeopardy.
What do we know also about the shooter? Because we know that he was spotted. What now? We're finding out an hour beforehand. Explain all the huge missteps. It is, even if they didn't have a lot or that's have right. enough, they still made the basic, it seems like, investigation 101. They dropped the ball. But an hour beforehand?
If this venue was a Broadway theater, there would have been two lights going back and forth over him, the big guide lights. People saw him acting erratically, trying to get up onto the roof. His parents reported him missing and called the police in the local vicinity saying, we're worried about that. He's spotted on the roof. When he's spotted on the roof, an officer has to falls because he's trying to get his gun because the shooter tries to aim his gun at him. That speeds up the time by which the shooter then goes and sits down and tries to shoot the president. And in those few moments, it does not appear from what we know now that the detail at the front was aware that a shooter was on the roof. There wasn't radio comms to the front, as far as we can tell. Otherwise, you would have saw those agents move a lot quicker than they did. They moved quickly once they heard the shots. But they could have taken the president off the stage after that first warning came in. That's where Congress has really drawn a circle around the details right now. They're very worried about that.
What do we know about the fact that the shooter's parents called up that morning and said he's missing? It's a 20-year-old guy. You wouldn't think they'd be panicking if your 20-year-old son. Clearly, there's something more to the story. What do we know?
First, let's remember what the parents are. They're both social workers. They're trained in extraordinary capabilities, and they know when someone's trouble because that's their job to know. Something caused them to be concerned about their son's disappearance. They're not saying what yet. We don't have a lot of information about that, but we do know that they made a call to police about an hour or two before the shooting occurred, I believe, reporting their son missing, his car missing, and that is where the trail ends right now. They're almost certainly going to be interviewed by Congress. I'm certainly they've been interviewed by the FBI. At some point, we'll get access to some of that information. Next week, the FBI director, Chris Wray, is on the Hill. It was supposed to be a traditional oversight hearing. It's going to turn predominantly to what we now know about what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Is it true also that the guy, the 20-year-old shooter, was also getting materials that said hazardous mailed to his home? I mean, this is like, and no criminal history as far as we know.
No criminal history.
Motive? Do we know motive?
We don't know a motive, and we don't see much social footprint from him either. A small donor footprint, very little social. He seemed to have lived in anonymity until this moment when he steps out and tries to shoot the president. I have not confirmed the reports. There are reports about the hazardous materials. We have not been able to get those confirmed yet by the sources that we know, so we're working on that. But there were red blinking lights in this boy's family, in this young man's family, red blinking lights at the event for about an hour before. That's the amazing thing. When you wind back the timeline, it's almost an hour of time where various people are coming forward saying, hey, something's going on with this guy, keep an eye on him. The Secret Service has changed its story a little bit today, say he was a person of interest and then he became a threat the second we saw him on the roof shooting. Well, maybe at the moment he climbed up, maybe that should have moved to threat sooner. They could have stopped him. There are going to be lots of learnings from this. So this is one of the biggest multi-failures that the Secret Service has ever had to deal with.
Yeah, this is a catastrophe of monumental measures. There is no doubt. John Solomon, thank you for being here. Boy, at the Republican National Convention, everybody's talking about this. And of course, tonight, we are enduring massive security here because of obviously just in general, but it is locked down like never before,
Probably
given what we're talking about
right now.
Yeah, thank goodness. Right. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Rita. Good to be with you.